long time to start. And there we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to our show, the 168. This is a weekly show where Gaz and I get together and talk about our successes and failures with our comic book projects. I'm Mike Emmerich. I'm sure you know who I am since you're on my channel. But if you don't, that is who I am. And with me is Gaz Gretzky. Where can everybody find you, Gaz?
Whoa, we're going to do that up front? Okay, fine.
So, sure.
I'm Gaz Gretzky, otherwise known as Gazbot. You can find me online everywhere you want to be, everywhere you don't want to be. That includes Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, blah, 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 blah. Usually Gazbot with one T, but if someone took that, I might throw an extra T on there for safety.
Excellent. And as usual, we always like to start off our show with a little jingle. So, Gaz, how about you take it away?
All right, I'm going to just make this up right now.
Sweet.
It's gonna be great. 168, me and my mate.
Hey.
We're not gonna skate, not Kevin Cross. It's 168. It's 168. It's talking about art. It's 168. 876-54321 and go 168.
Yeah. Excellent. I think we should keep that one.
I don't know if it lives up to the rap you did last week, but
anything lives up to the rap. So, all right, I guess we'll get right into it. So we're going to have a little bit of a shorter show today because I've actually got to cut out kind of early. So we're just going to kind of jump in and do what we do and get in and get out. So we both had kind of similar weeks with being out of our element and stuff. So and some of it, I guess, for brevity's sake, is fortunate that we had the same events because you were in town and we got to see each other and go out to dinner and stuff. So that was cool. But how about you go first and how did your week go?
I had a good week, but I'll say up front, I've failed my goals. I tried purposely to make them less because I knew I'd be out of town, and I still didn't make them. I guess I'll tell you what, I'll tell you about my week and then you could tell us about your week and then we'll get into what we did and didn't do. Does that sound good to you?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
All right. So I'm going to flip over to little slideshow-orama over here.
Flippity-doo-dah.
Flippity-dippity. All right. So I believe we are.
See your face.
Sure. Yep. It takes me a minute. I'm always slow. I'm not doing like
face show.
It's not like a video changer thing. It's literally me just like screen share. Okay, so I was out of town for G-Fest, which is the Godzilla convention once a year in Chicago. As you can see, I'm very glamorous. This was the 25th year. So I went out. I had to go out a couple days early. So I had one day, but since the last show before I actually left. And in that time, I had to do some client work. So I didn't work on anything there. This is my new setup. Now, one of my goals was to work on videos, and one of them is about this setup. So this is my table at G-Fest, and you can see the two things that are new. On the left, I have a little wooden stand-up that has smaller prints. I've used that at one other show, but it's still pretty new. And the backdrop is totally different. I used to build, if you look to the right, there's little like metal crate cube things. I used to build a whole setup with that, and I wanted to switch for a while. And because it was somewhere I had to fly to, I needed to switch because I got these. It's like two tripods with a bar across, and then I'm hanging prints down, but there's nothing behind them. And it was lighter and quicker to set up, and it collapses. So I was able to bring it as a carry-on. So for travel, it was kind of necessary, but I liked it so much, I might just start doing that permanently.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool too.
Thank you. Oh, that was just another angle by mistake. Okay. This is just one of the commissions I did. This was my favorite. This was Anguirus, and it was a repeat person because I was there 2 years ago, and he came back and found me. He's like, I want to get another one. And that always feels good because clearly he liked the last one enough to hire me again and pay a stupid amount of money to have me draw a monster.
Sweet.
That was just my own monster, the Horror 4 that I did and threw up there. Like, hey, maybe somebody wants this. No one did, of course. There was a little bit of cosplay, not as much as a superhero con, but what I liked, it was all monster and Japanese tokusatsu related stuff like this girl who is Ella King. This was me with another cosplayer. This is someone who made up his own Power Ranger Super Sentai guy based on Godzilla. So it's like a Godzilla medallion and the helmet is Godzilla. I thought that was kind of cool.
Cool.
Oh, geez. What is
hey,
this?
it's those people.
That's terrible. Well, yeah, of course I saw you guys, and that was a good time. We went to Alley Cat Comics. I stole your picture here because I didn't have one with the sign.
Oh, we're going to have a double.
That's fine. Well, at Alley Cat Comics, I was there 2 years ago. My comic, The Horror 4, is on sale there, which is awesome, and I still recommend the store, and I still recommend checking out. And unfortunately, they still have copies from 2 years ago. So thank you to them. Boo to my comic for not selling better. Oh, this was at the show. That is my artwork of Godzilla versus Biolante, and the person signing it is Satsuma, who is here with me holding the art. I gave him a copy and I had him sign a copy. It's my art, but he was the man in the suit. He was the Godzilla for most of the '90s, as well as a couple other monsters. He's pretty much
Nice.
my favorite suit actor from the Godzilla series, and he had retired. And I was at a show he was at years ago and missed him because I was working. He had retired, so I'm like, well, I lost my chance. There was supposed to be a different guest from the original Godzilla, and they canceled because they got sick. And as a personal favor, he flew out from Japan and
No
did this.
way.
So, like a retired Japanese actor, last minute coming out. It was like meant to be. So I just left my table for a half hour to like make it happen. You know,
That's awesome, dude.
it was
What a
pretty great.
like crazy coincidence too.
Yeah, and like out of all the people in the Godzilla series, he's the one I most would want to get a picture with. And it was like,
Yeah.
nope, never again. So that was, yeah. So then after G Fest, I went to some local comic shops, and this is a store called Dark Tower in Chicago, and I'm pointing at them because they now carry my book as well, which is awesome. So I definitely, when I'm out of town, try to get stores to carry my books, and most are pretty receptive as long as you're willing to do consignment, which could mean giving them free books de facto. But you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Went to Galloping Ghost Arcade with my buddy Kyle. It is possibly the best arcade I've ever been to. I recommend it highly. There's the thing. And then we went to another comic store called Challengers, which I like even better than Dark Tower. They're both nice stores, but Challengers is a little bit more indie friendly. Not that the other one wasn't, but this one had like a nice section, and they host 24-hour comic days and things like that. So yeah, they now have both issues of my book. The other one only had issue one, so that was nice of them. And that's yeah, that was my week, and I got back. Oh, that was the other thing. Another reason why I may be less productive than I was supposed to be. My flight got canceled, and so I had to
Oh,
rebook it. But when I rebooked it, I had to leave earlier. So I left on an earlier flight, but then it was a connecting flight, which I wasn't supposed to have. So I was getting in later, even though I was leaving earlier. And
okay.
my connecting flight got pushed back. So the whole thing, I didn't get in until like close to midnight last night. And
Ooh.
then today I woke up and have been unpacking and kind of getting ready for the show and for leaving because I have to catch a flight tomorrow morning at 5:30 in the morning to
Jesus.
San Diego. So,
Man.
you know, that's been my week. It's been good. It's been fun. I saw you and Kyle and did G Fest. I had a lot of fun, and it was profitable. You know, even with the plane ticket, I still made money at the show. So I'm very
Cool.
happy. Met a lot of cool people, other artists, fans, and stuff, but not super productive.
Yeah.
How about you? How was your week?
It was similar. I had some friends in from out of town. One was you. Another one was an old friend that I've known since I was like 4, and he tends to visit like maybe once every 1 or 2 years. So it's usually kind of like it's kind of a big deal because we're friends with a lot of the same people. So he comes into town. All of them come into town, and we do like a big game night type of thing. So that was fun, but usually it's just that, you know, one and done, and then, you know,
Right.
kind of he goes off and visits everybody else. But this time it was a repeat thing. I actually saw him 3 times this time, which I did
Wow.
not anticipate at all. So that was 3 days out of the week. Well, 2 more days that I hadn't planned for. Kind of like you said, really fun. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
glad that it happened. A
Yep.
lot of these people I don't get to see at all anymore, and there was a time when we spent like every day of our lives together. You know, it was
Right.
really
It's
good.
almost like reuniting with family.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. You know, his family was my family was his family, that kind of thing. When he would run away from his family, he would stay at mine. When I would run away from mine, I would stay at his, that kind of thing. So that was really cool. But that sucked up a lot of time too. So I'm glad that it happened, but didn't get very much stuff done. And I'm got a thing going off here. Okay.
Hey,
Anyways,
everybody. While he checks on his thing, let me tell you about ears. Ears are
here's
great. They have equilibrium and cartilage and ridges for amplifying sound. Back to you, Mike.
and wax. Plenty of it. So let's see. So that pretty much wiped out like the weekdays leading up to the weekend. Saturday was my birthday, which was awesome. We rented a car so that we could go out to G Fest to meet up with you. But since we had the car, we made a day of it and did what normal people would do just on like a normal day. So like we cleaned out our closet and went to Goodwill and went to Walmart and
Right.
stupid things that, you know, most people would just do on any other day, but for us it was like a big event
Sure.
that took up the rest of that day, which was awesome. So that was cool. Spent the rest of the day with you. Went to Alley Cat, and while I was at Alley Cat, I talked to that guy about possibly putting the life in space in there. He
Hmm.
said, "Yeah, sure, just bring a couple in." I was like, "All right, cool." So fast forward to yesterday. I'll get straight to the point with which was supposed to be my first day, kind of back to getting back to work. Um, I got a notice under my door the night before that apparently they're replacing all the bricks on our building, and
Mm.
it was going to be starting on what was that, Tuesday? 'Cause today's Wednesday now, right? Because we
Yes,
were a
today's
day
Wednesday.
late. Okay, right. So Tuesday I got woken up by construction workers all over the place. We're on the top floor, so they're all over the ceiling, walking around, smashing the bricks off of the side of the wall. They started with this side of the wall, which is where I work, and where I sleep. The whole side of the wall, their bedroom faces the same as the kitchen, stripping off all these bricks. So it was I couldn't stay in here. It was crazy. I was getting a massive headache, not able to concentrate, but I didn't want to waste the day. So I was trying to figure out a way that I could get out of the house and still do something productive. So I followed up with Alley Cat, and I actually took a trip back down to Chicago to go there. And he told me to only bring like 2 or 3 books, but I kept my fingers crossed, and I'm like, I'm gonna upsell them. So I brought a stack of 5 because I figured that's not too ambitious, and plus I got to carry them, so I didn't want to be too heavy. But I got there and I actually talked to the owner. And I guess the way that the
Mm.
owner does it is a little bit different than what the guy told me. So
Oh,
she actually took all 5 and they're going to try to sell them. If they sell them, I'll get 100% of the sales back. But
right.
also, if I sell 5, they will buy more on consignment for 50% of retail. So the way I looked at it was like, all right, I could drop off, 3 books now and I can make a little bit of money and be done with it. And they have no reason to ever call me back or be in touch with me again.
Right.
Or I can kind of take a chance on this, give them a few books, and then that at least gives them some incentive that maybe we'll be talking again.
So
So,
the original deal the guy had said to you was basically they'd buy him for half of cover. And
right.
she said we do it different, but she gave you the option that she would honor the other deal if you
Yeah.
wanted that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome because both deals have merit. And the fact that she let
Mhm.
you choose, that's pretty
Yeah,
great.
yeah. So she was super nice.
Yeah.
So I got her card, and I guess I'm supposed to call back in like a month or something like that.
Right.
So so anyways, that I made use of that day that way.
Right.
But in order for me to get downtown and especially to get up there, that was my entire day.
Right. Were you gonna show us a picture from that or?
Well, you showed the picture.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had more of it on the shelf or
I
something.
I do no, I don't,
No,
because she
okay.
kept them wrapped up actually, and at that point I was like, all right, cool, great, time to go. Trying to figure out how to share my screen now, but what you saw the picture, it
That's
doesn't.
fine. I didn't know if you had anything else you wanted to share. That's just
Yeah.
asking.
So yeah, that's pretty much that. And then today, they just wrapped up the construction like right before we started this show. Like the last, I heard the door slam as I was waiting for you to get here. So the last of
Right.
them finally left. I haven't had a chance to go out and look to see if are they done or
Mm.
are we going to continue this. Today was especially awful. I got no sleep today. They started super
That
early.
sucks.
I tried to get away from my bedroom by going into the living room. And as soon as I went into the living room, I
They
was
didn't
hearing
do.
bricks dropping on the air conditioner. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm getting 3 hours of sleep today.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that was my week. Again, very fun, very eventful, and out of the
Right.
ordinary. But as far as being conducive for getting a lot of work done, not really. I mean, I
That's
did
right.
some drawing here and there on the train and stuff because I had
Right.
a lot of traveling. But yeah, but we
Well,
can get into the rest of that next.
okay. Well, why don't we switch over to me and
Switch.
talk about how great I am? No, I'm not great because I have failed. But yeah, as we both had crazy weeks, and yeah, I had a good night's sleep last night, which was maybe the first really good night's sleep I had the whole time because I
Mhm,
would get up early, do the show, and then I would go out and do things at night, go to a movie, go to the arcade, see you. And
mhm.
then I'm the type of person that even though I'm exhausted, and like Kyle, the guy I was staying with, he'd go to sleep at like 1 or whatever, and I'd still be up until 3 half the time. Just like
Mm,
I
mhm,
can't sleep, and but not I didn't have the energy to draw, and I was trying to sleep. So the only work I was able to, well, okay, the three things I wanted to get done were the rough version of a new print of a Power Ranger thing for an upcoming show.
Yes.
Wanted to do, I believe, an hour of work on my next page of the Horror Ray 4. And I wanted to have my G-Fest video edited and ready to go before I leave for San Diego Comic-Con tomorrow at 5:30 in the morning. Oh, gosh. Anyway, so I failed on all of those, but I didn't do nothing.
Okay.
Excuse me. I didn't do nothing. I said that's so weird. I didn't do nothing. Anyway,
A little
so
bit of something.
I spent about a half hour working on the Horror 4 on the plane. Now this is going to look like nothing. This is on my iPad. I was trying to transfer it, but I was having trouble. So this is the roughs for the page. And as you can see, I mainly started working on that guy. It doesn't look like much, but this is one of those cases where I started cleaning up this panel and then realized it was sort of weird and awkward. And so most of the time I was like, wait, I think I need to change this because it was like the monster was getting punched by a robot, but like the physics of it didn't make sense. And it's like, is he like punching, so I basically spent a lot of time going, wait, what? I have to, so it doesn't look like much, but I did actually work on it a little bit,
Sure.
probably half the time I wanted to, but not nothing. And then for the roughs for the print, I did make more progress. Let me just get this. I'm trying to move the pictures on my screen. There we go. All right, so this is as far as I've gotten. This is the White Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers / Die Ranger. So I obviously didn't finish up the Zord, the Tiger Zord, and I will probably still go back up and change a few things. Like I think that one leg is a little bit off and stuff. So maybe this is 75% of where I wanted to get it, where I would then be ready to just ink it and the color and stuff. So this was all done on the plane as well, as we said. That's the main time I'm able to get work done. So both of those I worked on, but didn't get to the point I wanted to. The Godzilla Fest video, I realized that it was probably going to be more than one video. It'd probably be like a 2-parter or 3-parter. And what I decided to do was not worry about the G-Fest stuff, but the first, like the 0 day, is mostly about my new setup. As I was saying, I was filming myself in the garage. Hey, how do I put it together and figuring it out and stuff because I watched a bunch of videos to help me figure stuff out. So I like to do that kind of stuff for other people too. So I actually edited it on my phone on the plane.
Oh my God.
I know, but I haven't yet put it up because I needed to film a little intro of me, which I'll just do at home after I get off with you actually. So while I will not have the G-Fest stuff up before I leave tomorrow after we get off, I'm going to finish the intro and then upload it. So there'll be, hey, here's my new setup / G-Fest day 0.
Oh, cool.
So that is what I have accomplished.
Yeah, not bad, actually. All things considered, you actually did get quite a bit done.
I guess. I'm still disappointed in myself.
Yeah, I know. All right, I'm going to attempt the screen share.
All right.
We'll see how well this works. Share here.
Thanks, Peter.
We're going to go into infinity.
Oh, that looks awesome.
And okay, so I wanted to try to accomplish incorporating that whole narrator thing that I had written into my current script, and decided I'm going to scrap that idea because I want to move forward. And I felt like it wasn't going to go as easy as I wanted it to, and that it would require me reworking panels and page layouts. And once I got to that point, I was like, abort. So nixed that idea completely. I did not get to watercolors at all. I suppose I could have, but I felt like a better use of my time, the limited bit that I had, was to put it towards the comic. And so I had a little bit of yesterday and a little bit of today so far. So what you're looking at is essentially the result of my efforts. I've got some roughs going on this page over here. And then these are on the left side here. It's kind of like I was trying to figure out a pose for a different page for over here. And so I tried a couple different, poses and angles and whatnot. My hand is still hurting, and I haven't drawn in, God, like 2 weeks now, maybe 3 weeks. I mean, I've been trying to little doodles and stuff here and there, but I mean, not like what I would normally do in a day. So I just feel like it's absolutely awful. And so, it was a lot of stumbling around versus actually producing anything that I'm like, oh yeah, great. But the one that I got, I like the gesture of it. I don't necessarily like how the whole thing is, constructed or anything, but I like the gesture of it. And so that's kind of where I'm at with that page. Also, a lot of the stuff that I've got going on is like rearranging shit that was already there. So not necessarily redrawing, but kind of like just futzing around with stuff that's already there, so that I didn't have to draw. Um, yeah, it's pathetic, but
I,
that's what I
I
got.
mean that you did more hours on it, obviously, but that seems similar to what I was talking about with the horror, where I like put work in, but it's just like move this, that's not working, that's broken. Do I need to redraw the page?
Yeah,
But that counts as work. It's frustrating work. It's not glamorous work,
yeah,
but it still needs to be done. So,
yeah.
kudos for that.
So yeah, and I started getting some scanning done too of like some other like little things that I had done before that I just
Whoa.
hadn't got around to. So I'm able to splice those in with my pages and stuff. It's
Well,
still
that's
tough
good.
for me to draw. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do about this hand right now, but for now I'm just kind of trying to push through.
Do you have
Um,
a follow up with the doctor eventually, or
no, I could have, but I didn't.
right?
But at the same time, there wasn't much that he could do for me anyway. So I've got this
Well,
new like ointment stuff that's kind of working, kind of. Uh,
right.
but yeah, so
Well, I guess until it gets better or worse, you just yeah,
I mean, I'm working, but
right,
it's I'm working in much shorter spurts than I'm used to, which
right,
sucks because it's like my time frame, I guess, to get in the zone tends to be about like an hour to 2 hours. So I'll draw for about an hour to 2 hours, just random stuff, and then everything starts to click, and then I go on with my day and keep going, and things just kind of either stay the same or progress from there. That tends
right,
to be the norm. But now with my hand, it's like I draw for 1 to 2 hours, I take a break.
right.
I go back to it for maybe 40 minutes. I take a break. And so I'm not able to like get into my day
Right.
the way that I'm used to.
It's good
That's,
for your physical health of your hand, but you're having trouble like getting
yeah,
focused.
I just want to sit and get to work. Taking breaks is a bad thing for me sometimes, and especially
Well,
that.
especially if it's not just a 3-minute break to go to the bathroom or shake your
Right.
head or something. But
Exactly.
yeah,
It's like I'm taking a break to put ice on it and then usually cycling that ice because the ice just doesn't stay cold long enough because it's so hot now.
right.
Um, but I'm
Y-
not doing anything productive. Maybe I'll start watching some videos on YouTube, like tutorial type of videos or whatever, art
Right.
type videos. But then going to actually do what it is I'm trying to do, it's like I have to tap out too quickly.
Right. That does sound frustrating, and I guess you're doing what you could do. I
Yeah.
have no suggestions, but I
Yeah.
hope it.
It's
I hope it gets better, and if it doesn't, I hope you go to the doctor.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be fine. Like I said, it is I'm able to get more time in now. It's just now so much time has passed that I'm like it's like taking a really long vacation, and
Yeah.
your habits are broken, and so now it's like kind of I've got these two things that I'm juggling right now: the hand itself, but then also all my habits are broken, and to get back into them, I kind of need my hand, and
Right.
the
Yep. Yep.
it's frustrating. It's
It's
just
a
frustrating.
terrible vortex of frustration.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But for right now, kind of sucks. But
Yeah.
that's
Well,
okay.
so in a way, it's good that you kind of had fun during the week because you
Yeah,
probably wouldn't have had a super productive week anyway. And at least this way, you did fun stuff.
yeah, totally. I kind of looked at it like a vacation because
Yeah.
Mel had a lot of time off too. She got off a lot earlier than she normally would that whole week, so we spent a lot more time together. And then come Monday, we were both just so exhausted, and she took the day off because she knew it was gonna kind of be a week
Right.
like that.
Right.
And we just hung out the whole day. It was awesome. It's really
That's
great.
cool.
So I consider
Well,
it a vacation week.
because we're trying to keep it short, why don't we say what we want to try to get done next week? And
Sure.
while we're doing that, we got a couple people in the chat, James and Peter. They've been making little comments, which we
Hey,
appreciate.
everybody.
And if you guys had any questions or comments you'd like us to address before the end of the show, think about it now. Throw them in the chat while we are explaining what we're going to try to do for next week. And if there is anything, we'll address it at that point.
Yes.
So, I guess since you just went, I will go. What I'm going to try to do next week is going to be once again boring and light. As I said, like in about 12 hours, I'll be already on my way to the airport.
Jeez.
And I'm going down to San Diego for Comic Con. I don't have a table or anything. Although, if you see me down there, say hi. I may have some copies of the comic on me. I mean, I will have them with me. I don't know if I'll have mine in a second. And Actually, I'm going to bring a bunch of postcards, ads from my comic with my social media, and I'm going to see if I can get them on the free giveaway table. If not, I'll just give them out to whoever seems interested. But it occurred to me, I've got like hundreds of these things. Like, why not throw them on a giveaway table? But
Cool.
and then other than that, I don't think I'm going to do a portfolio review or anything like that. But I might just try to show people my book and see, not even like, hey, will you publish this? But like, you're a publisher here, like just know who I am, and
Yeah.
here's which I've done before to mixed results, but I'm there anyway. But I'm mainly going because my buddy is up for an Eisner Award because I wasn't planning on going this year, so I'm sort of his plus one. But I'm actually getting there earlier than him, and I'm going on way too long. But the point is, I'm flying in tomorrow, first thing in the morning. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I will be at Comic Con. And while I have in the past, like I did it during my second round of the 100 Days of Making Comics, found a half hour. I was exhausted. I was doing nothing worth seeing. It was just like forcing it through. So
Yeah.
I'm going to assume I won't be able to get any work done other than on the plane. I get back Monday. Uh, Aside from jet lag and everything else, I will have a doctor's appointment. And then Tuesday, theoretically, if you're available, is when we do the show again.
Yeah.
So I will have one day where I'm not traveling or at Comic Con, and I have a doctor's appointment that day. So I'm going to give myself the exact same assignment I did last time.
Okay.
An hour on the Horror A4, finish the roughs on the White Ranger, not get it to inks or anything, but just finish that phase. And not the G Fest video I was just talking about, like the setup one, but the actual hey, here I am at the show video. Try to get that done and up. So pretty much what I gave myself last time in a very similar situation where I'm not going to be home the whole week.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll be able to do it. And after Tuesday, well, we have a friend from out of town, but after Tuesday will be the beginning of me being able to get back to work.
We'll see.
Yeah. How about you? What do you want to try to get done?
Well, like I was saying with my hand and habits and all that, I am trying to move forward and get back into the groove, and so I'm just gonna my main thing that I'm gonna commit to is my thumbnails. I want to, by the time we meet again, have my thumbnails done, at least a draft, even if they're shitty. I need something, and I think that's a low enough amount of stuff that even if I'm working an hour on and then taking an hour off and then an hour on and then an hour off, even if I'm working like that,
Right.
I can manage to push through this, even if I don't like necessarily, what I have at the end of it, which seems to be the case because I'm just so frustrated. But it's also like a big enough task that I don't feel like I'm kind of wimping out, considering that I do have my normal time back,
Right.
provided that this brick stuff is done. But at the very least, they're done with this side of the house, so I could get back to work. This isn't affecting me
Right.
anymore. So,
Well, that's good.
yeah, I'm just gonna focus on thumbnails and
Sounds
try
good.
to finish them all.
There's definitely, I'm a big fan of finishing phases, even
Yeah,
if it's
it
not
has to happen.
perfect. Yeah.
It has to happen, especially because I'm really struggling with like kind of like versions of the page. I've had like a couple that are like,
Yeah.
they're just okay. And so I've tried to fix them. And then in fixing them, I've broken something else. And it's getting to that point, where
Yeah.
it's like I really need to make a decision and stick to it and then,
I I
start to flesh it out.
totally get it, and I totally think you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Because
Cool.
then even if you get all the thumbnails finalized, and then when you're penciling or inking, you really feel like you need to change something, it
Hmm.
still might be extra work. But it's like, well, you must really want to change this, and because you've
Yeah.
thought about it so long, and but at least you're on the next phase when you change it, as opposed to never going forward. So
Yeah.
you're being a smart man.
Yeah. Well.
In the comments, let's see. Peter Palmiotti is telling us the best place to network is San Diego Comic Con, and hopefully I'll meet him there. I mean, it might be his brother, but I'll just say it's him, as he has requested. And then James is saying, have you guys tried reaching out to Alterna Comics? They seem to be looking for good comic artists published. They'll have a table at San Diego Comic Con. Well, Mike's not going to San Diego Comic Con this year. I am. I'll definitely stop by their table. That's the type of table I do like to stop by, and not even necessarily looking for work. I mean, if they're like, "Oh my gosh, we think you're great, do a cover," like I'm not going to say no. But my book is weird because I'm doing floppies, and it'll be 5, but they're coming out like a year apart. I don't know that they'd be interested in that. I mean, if they were, it would surprise me. What for
Yeah.
publishing my stuff, I'm going to go more hardcore on that when I have a trade paperback, and then I'll be like, "Does anybody want to publish this?" And if not, I'll
Mhm.
do it myself. But the individual issues, because of the schedule I'm on, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. That being said, I'm not against taking work either. Although I don't know. I will talk to them. Obviously, I have a friend that is published through them. He does the Mighty Mascots is getting published through them, which is like sort of a parody of cereal
Sweet.
characters. Yeah, sweet cereals. And actually, that's the same friend that I worked on his book Kid Switch. I did the art for a book,
Oh,
so
cool.
he's got a few books out, and the one I didn't work on is being published by Alterna. The other one is self-published by him, so it's still pretty cool. But I will definitely go talk to them. Thank you for the suggestion.
Cool. Yeah, pretty much the same answer actually. I'm not interested in seeking out any publishers right now. I'd be more interested if either one, I finished a trade so that I actually had content that they, a buffer that they could
Right.
use, or two, I get faster because right now I'm really slow and I would not commit to a contract where I had like very rigid deadlines that I had to produce because
Right.
I just know that I can't do it right now. I plan to get there, but that's not where I'm at right now.
I I I agree. Although I do know myself that I could be faster if I have a deadline. I couldn't.
Yeah,
I certainly couldn't produce a whole book by myself in a month. But let's say I was the
sure.
penciler or something, I could commit to penciling a book a month or maybe a book every 2 months
Yeah.
if I was getting paid. And I don't mean tons, but if it was like, oh, this is actually going to be published by a publisher and I'm going to be getting paid, and I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to take any other work and eat ramen while I do this, but I will get it done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could do that, and I might be like getting no sleep or whatever. But for an opportunity like that, I'd make it happen. But if it wasn't that, because I've worked with smaller publishers or been asked to work with smaller publishers, and I'm not against that at all. But their deadlines are like crazy long, or they pay next to nothing, and like so, there's a lot of flexibility of like, well, I got to take 10 other jobs while I'm doing this, so
Mm.
whatever. But if it was like an actual thing where people know that publisher and the book would end up in comic stores and bookstores, and there'd be a little bit more, I don't want to say legitimacy, because maybe I will say legitimacy, because legitimacy doesn't equal quality. There are plenty of quality comics that no one ever sees. Doesn't mean they're
Yeah.
bad, but there's I'll say distribution and visibility. There
Hmm.
you go. So then I would be willing to be a little broke, be a little out of sleep, if that would sort of help get my stuff out there.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Cool.
I think Peter had a question.
Yeah, Peter says, do we both have deadlines for our comics to have them finished?
Let me counter that with Peter. Do you have a deadline for your comic to be finished?
Touche, touche.
It's like the indie comic question nobody wants to get, and that we all have to deal with.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first, Mike.
I did have a deadline, and then at this point, I forget what happened, but I completely just everything sort of fell apart.
Right.
I should have a deadline, but it seems recently with my hand situation, I don't want to uh, uh, impose something that I know I can't meet at this point. I'm kind of intentionally pulling back a little bit and just kind of letting things play out. As soon as I know that everything's going to be okay, then maybe I will force a deadline on myself again because I know I won't be hurting myself. But
Right.
yeah, right now, I mean, everything's kind of up in the air right now for me. I'm just doing whatever I can. So,
Fair
but
enough.
as you all know and have heard me say, a bunch of times, I really want to push to be a lot more hardcore. So this is killing me. And yes, when I once my hand heals up, I will guarantee I will break it again. So
For me, for those that don't know, my book, The Hurry For, it's a 5-issue series that's written and it has an ending, and 2 are done and out. So I'm working on the 3rd issue, and I mean, when do I want it done? This month. Actually, that's not true. When do I want it done? Last year. When I was working on the 2nd issue, I remember the 1st issue came out, and I was like, oh, by October or whatever, like 6 months from now, I'll have issue 2 out. That didn't happen, and then there's like by the end of the year, and it ended up being longer than I had said. And I felt stupid, and I was like, I shouldn't be giving out these deadlines. So I'm reluctant to give out deadlines because I don't want to make a liar out of myself or get people's hopes up. But
good
I
point.
also realize that if I give myself all the time in the world, that's not helpful either. So what I will say is, for the whole project, I won't even take a guess. But for issue 3 that I'm working on, my tentative deadline for myself that I think is achievable, things could happen and it won't work out this way, but like if I by the end of the year, by like December, I would like to have it done. And because that's about how when the last one came out. So I ran the Kickstarter for 2. So a year is too long for a comic, in my opinion. But it's like long enough that I should be able to get it done. If I don't have it done by the end of the year, I'll be upset. Like either I slacked off or I got a bunch of client work or something in my life happened. But if things are basically, because again, after this show, I've only got one more big show this year. So that's not, I'm not going to have a repeat of this month. Um, if I don't have it done by the end of the year, I will be disappointed and have to have reasons why not. If I get it done sooner, hey, great, but I doubt it, you know? So, going by that, and this is super depressing to say, going by that, in 3 years, my whole book should be done, which makes me want to like chop off my hands and go find something else to do with my life. But my hope is that each issue gets a little faster because issue 3 is coming together faster than issue 2, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So my dream world would be like by the end of the year, and then the next one is in 6 months, and then the next one is 4 months. Don't hold me to that. It won't happen.
Yeah.
But for issue 3, I think it's believable that I'll have it done by the end of the year.
Cool. That's actually my original deadline for Sisyphean Complex was going to be the end of the spring, and I knew that it wasn't quite getting there, so I gave myself to the end of the summer. At this point,
Right.
definitely the end of the year at the very most amount of time, because I wanted to get working on Space Cat too. My big plan was actually finish an issue of Space Cat this year. I don't know if I'm going to get to that. I could, if all goes well, I could, but I guess we'll see.
Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
James burned his hand on a barbecue earlier. He was talking in the chat.
Yeah.
Chop them off and grill them. Make some hamburgers.
That's right.
Although it might be difficult because then I just have a little stump. Like I guess I don't know how I would do it. Maybe I could get like attachments, like for grill, whatever.
Or you could get one of those little, like a pencil holder for a wrist.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of how to draw. The point is I chop off my hands and not draw. I'm just wondering how I would cook my hands.
How you would eat them. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, that too. You would use your feet. You would need like monkey feet.
Monkey feet like these?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a clappy.
Exactly.
If I had no socks, you could actually hear that. That's my talent. That's my real talent, not drawing. Teeth thongs. All right. Well, so we wanted to not take this too long because you got to be somewhere. And I think we've sort of covered everything we wanted to. And we're going to, are you good for next Tuesday, normal time?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So we'll be back again. This was an off day because I was traveling yesterday. So next Tuesday, same time, it'll be on my channel. Well, it's your show, so I should be letting you wrap it up. Sorry.
No, you're doing great. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. You pressure.
Okay, so it will be at the same time, but on Gaz's channel, and I'll be doing the song this time. Who knows what it'll be? And we'll see if we can kick it up a notch. I feel like the last couple of weeks we've really not been slacking, but
life has been kicking our butts a little bit.
And we've been feeling a little defeated about it. So
yeah, agreed.
We'll see what happens. But that's all for now. And until next time, tiddlywinks.
Mel.